Happy Friday, welcome to How to Train Your Bladder. As always, an introduction for those of you who are new here. My name is Alicia, I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist and just overall expert in all things pelvic floor. Let's review what we know so far. Normal time between trips to the bathroom is every 3 to 4 hours during the day, but a minimum of 2. And ideally, you should not be getting up at night. You should also not have to be going just in case before you leave the house to do something. But Alicia, what happens if I don't go just in case and I feel like I have to go to the bathroom when I'm out? Alicia, I've had babies, I'm gonna pee my pants. Alicia, you don't have IC, so you don't know what you're talking about. This, my friends, is where bladder retraining and urge suppression techniques come into play. Bladder urgency is like a wave. We know that as your bladder steadily fills up, the intensity of the feeling of needing to go will increase more and more and more until we get to this peak where it's like, oh my gosh, get me there right now, I'm about to overflow. But that wave will come back down and it will settle back down. So the goal is to be able to use these techniques to kind of ride the wave so that we're not giving in at that high level of intensity to go, and also not leaking. If you're constantly giving in and going at the top of that wave, it's training your body to send that really urgent signal more often. You're perpetuating the cycle. Imagine if you had a toddler in a store and he was throwing a temper tantrum, and you gave him a piece of candy. He'd stop that temper tantrum, but then he would know, oh, I can throw temper tantrums and get candy every time. The same thing is happening with your bladder when you give in when the urge is really intense. So trust that we can retrain your bladder and learn how to ride these waves together. I'm going to go over a bunch of different techniques, so I'm going to break them down into smaller videos so that they're easier to understand, and that way you can also kind of pick a la carte which ones make the most sense and work the best for you. With a couple of exceptions, I'm going to maybe give you a little bit more guidance on a couple of them that I really think that you should be doing. So here we go. Step 1. When you find yourself in a position of feeling like you need to go to the bathroom, you need to freeze in place. This sounds counterintuitive because if you're feeling like you urgently have to go to the bathroom, you want to try to get there as quickly as you can. But this is where the problem happens. The reason you're getting that signal is because your bladder has filled up to the point where it starts to say, hey, we need to go to the bathroom, we need to go. These little tiny contractions. If you start running to the bathroom, it's going to jostle the bladder around within the pelvis. And so the bladder's all of a sudden going to feel like, oh gosh, there's really no room to fill up and expand anymore. So it's going to start to contract more forcefully and more intensely. And if we combo that with a pelvic floor dysfunction issue, then we might leak at that point. On the other hand, if you stay perfectly still, so if you're lying down, don't even sit up on the edge of the bed. If you're sitting, don't even stand up. If you're standing, don't even start walking to the bathroom. If you stay still, we can have a better chance of calming the intensity of that sensation down. Stay tuned for part 2.